What's up, guys? Welcome back to Wrestlers, Toys, and Stuff. Today we are doing random number generator generates my roster on universe mode. So let's get into universe mode, and I have the random generator generating which roster we're on. There's 3 rosters because I didn't feel like making NXT UK. So, let's do the random generator. It chose 3, which looks like we're going to be on Smackdown. So, we need to delete this. And delete this one. Put both briefcases on here. We're probably only having the World Championship, the Women's Championship, and a Mid-Card Championship. Tag titles and women's tag titles will go bye-bye. Alright, I have 261 members on, I have 261 superstars available for the game. So let's see what number will be the first superstar on universe mode. Number 47, which is China. China is the first superstar to join Smackdown. 133, which is it's La Venganza. Here's La Venganza. The next superstar is number 63, which is Drew McIntyre. So I'm just writing down who we got already. So we have number 47, number 133, and number 63. Alright, who's the next superstar joining our roster? 83. Who is Gran Metalik. Gran Metalik joins the roster. $224 is $224 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. We'll get rid of Mansoor, Mickey James. So it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I have to fix my paper. I messed up the numbers. I actually only have 256 members that are available. Alright, who is the next person to join our roster? Number 211, which is Scott Hall, NWO. Next person is 121, who is Kenny Omega. Next up is number 5, who is Alexa Bliss, the first woman to be drafted. We have 8 superstars so far. 156. Number 156 is Mustafa Ali. Number 113 is Josie Jane. Another woman joins the roster. Alright. Next is number 233, which is Titus O'Neil. '56 is the next superstar, who is Demon Finn Balor. The next superstar to join the roster is number 114, who is Kalisto, also my favorite superstar that is in the game. Next up is 161, who is myself. It's me. Out of all the superstars that I have in the game, the number generator chose me. Next up is superstar 199, who is Robert Roode. Next is superstar 256, who is Zack of the Power Rangers. The next superstar to join is superstar number 108, who is John Cena, the Invisible Man. The next superstar to join is number 221. Oh, he's already on the roster. Oh wait, no, he isn't. That is Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa now joins Smackdown. Next superstar is superstar number 203, who is Roman Reigns. The next superstar is number 114, who is already on the roster. Redo. Number 134, Lacey Evans. Alright, the next superstar is number 29, and that is Brent the Cameraman from My Rise Mode. We have 9 superstars left to draft. 147. That is Mako Satomura. Alright, the next superstar is number 121, who is already on the roster. Number 63 is next. And that is also on the roster. 236 is the next number, and that is Toni Storm. Not Tegan Knox, Toni Storm. The next number is superstar number 118, and that is Kaylee Ray, who is getting a name change. IRL, but she's still going to be known as Kaylee Ray to me. Alright, next superstar is superstar number 239. And that is the Game, Triple H. The next superstar is superstar number 159, who is Naomi. The next superstar is superstar 153, and that is Montez Ford. The next superstar is number 74, and that is Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff joins the roster. Alright, the next superstar is superstar number 234. That is Tommaso Ciampa. Alright, who is the last superstar to join the roster? Number 154. And that is Mr. McMahon. Well, that is it for the roster. 30 superstars. I'll edit here, we'll do this. Championships, we don't need the Intercontinental Championship. And the first people drafted will be our starting champions. So Chyna will be the starting women's champion. And then the starting men's champion will be La Venganza. There we go. Alright, let's see our first pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. So we have Naomi versus Chyna for the Smackdown Women's Championship, me versus La Venganza for the Universal Championship, Toni Storm versus Josie Jane, Alexa Bliss versus Meiko Satomura, Kaylee Ray versus Lacey Evans, Zack versus Titus O'Neil, Roman, Ali, Drew, Tommaso Ciampa, John Cena, Brent, Mr. McMahon, and Solo Sikoa in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I guess there isn't a women's Money in the Bank ladder match because Robert Roode, Kalisto, Montez Ford, Kenny Omega, Grand Metalik, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Demon Finn, and Triple H are in another one. So the winners, Naomi is your new women's champion. I am your new Universal Champion. Toni Storm defeated Josie Jane. Alexa Bliss defeated Meiko Satomura. Kaylee Ray defeated Lacey Evans. Zack defeated Titus O'Neil. Roman Reigns is Mr. Money in the Bank. And Finn Balor is Mrs. Money in the Bank. Alright, on to the next pay-per-view, which is WrestleMania Backlash. We have Tommaso Ciampa going one-on-one with Montez Ford. Mustafa Ali going one-on-one with Lava and Gonza. Brent going one-on-one with Robert Roode. Titus O'Neil versus Triple H. Kaylee Ray versus Naomi for the Women's Championship. Kenny Omega versus Zack. Did he cash in? Roman versus me for the Universal Championship. John Cena versus Drew McIntyre. And Solo Sikoa versus Mr. McMahon. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Montez Ford. Mustafa Ali defeats Lava and Gonza. Brent defeats Robert Roode. Titus O'Neil defeats Triple H. Naomi retains. Kenny Omega defeats Zack. I saw that coming. I am no longer the Universal Champion. John Cena defeated Drew McIntyre. And Solo Sikoa defeated Vince. Alright, time for the horror show at Extreme Rules. Roman is the cover star. We have Montez Ford going one-on-one with me. Brent going one-on-one with Robert Roode again. Lava and Gonza going one-on-one with Solo Sikoa. Meiko Satomura versus Naomi for the Women's Championship. Kenny Omega going one-on-one with Zack. Mr. McMahon going one-on-one with Finn Balor. Triple H going one-on-one with Tommaso Ciampa. Drew versus Roman Reigns in an Extreme Rules match. And then Finn Balor decides to cash in after. Is Roman still Mr. Money in the Bank, though? I'll have to go check real quick. No, he cashed in on Smackdown. Montez Ford defeated me. Robert Roode got his win back over Brent. Lava and Gonza defeated Solo Sikoa. Meiko Satomura is your new women's champion. Zack defeated Kenny Omega. Mr. McMahon defeated Finn Balor. Triple H defeated Tommaso Ciampa. Drew McIntyre is the new Universal Champion. And Roman Reigns defeated Finn Balor. So is Roman the champion again? No, that's true. Drew McIntyre is the Universal Champion. And Finn Balor is no longer Mrs. Money in the Bank. So, on to SummerSlam. Zack is the cover star. Kenny Omega going one-on-one with Roman. Mustafa Ali going one-on-one with me. Ooh, that would be a banger match. Naomi getting her rematch against Meiko Satomura. These two could not stop facing each other. Robert Roode going one-on-one with Brent. Solo Sikoa going one-on-one with Lava and Gonza. Montez Ford's going one-on-one with Titus O'Neil. Mr. McMahon's going one-on-one with Finn Balor. Triple H going one-on-one with Stone Cold. Drew versus Ciampa. And Zack versus John Cena in a Falls Count Anywhere. Extreme Rules, who wins? Roman Reigns defeats Kenny Omega. Mustafa Ali defeated me. Naomi wins back her championship. Robert Roode defeated Brent. Lava and Gonza defeats Solo Sikoa. Montez defeated Titus. Finn Balor defeated Mr. McMahon. Triple H defeated Stone Cold. Ciampa defeated McIntyre. And Cena defeats Zack. Alright, time for Payback. Kenny versus Roman. Finally, Robert Roode versus Mustafa Ali. Me versus Solo Sikoa. Zack versus Brent. No holds barred. Mako Satomura gets her rematch now. Titus O'Neil defeats Triple H. Lavin Ganza defeated Titus O'Neil goes one-on-one to Triple H. Lavin Ganza goes one-on-one with John Cena. Then we have Stone Cold versus Montez Ford. And a no-holds-barred match. Ciampa versus McIntyre for the Universal Championship. Roman defeats Kenny Omega. Roode defeats Ali. Solo Sikoa defeated me. That's not surprising. Brent defeated Zack Taylor. Naomi retains. Triple H defeated Titus O'Neil. John Cena defeated Lavin Ganza. Stone Cold defeated Montez Ford. And Drew McIntyre retains. On to Clash of Champions. We have Kenny Omega versus Zack, Brent versus Titus O'Neil, Mr. McMahon versus Lavin Ganza, Robert Roode versus Ali, me versus Solo Sikoa, Kaylee Ray versus Naomi for the Women's Championship, John Cena versus Tommaso Ciampa, Roman versus Drew for the Universal Championship, Roman gets his rematch, and then Montez versus Stone Cold. Zack defeats Kenny, Titus defeats Brent, Vince defeats Lavin Ganza, Ali defeats Roode, I defeat Solo Sikoa and get my win back. Naomi is still the women's champion, John Cena defeats Tommaso Ciampa, Drew McIntyre retains, and Stone Cold defeats Montez. Next is Hell in a Cell. So we have Kaylee Ray versus Naomi for the Women's Championship, Robert Roode versus Mustafa Ali, Kenny Omega versus Solo Sikoa. Again, this match, why is Vince wrestling in a Hell in a Cell against Lavin Ganza? I don't know. It's the first drafted male versus the last drafted male superstar going one-on-one. Tommaso Ciampa versus Titus O'Neil. What does this have to do with Hell in a Cell? Me versus Triple H. Hell in a Cell match. And then Zack versus John Cena, Hell in a Cell. Drew versus Roman. You're telling me Drew is not defending the Universal Championship. And then Stone Cold versus Montez. So Kaylee Ray is your new women's champion. Robert Roode defeats Mustafa Ali. Solo Sikoa defeats Kenny Omega. Lavin Ganza defeated Vince in a Hell in a Cell. Tommaso Ciampa defeats Titus O'Neil. I defeated Triple H, surprisingly. I was not expecting that. John Cena defeated Zack. Roman Reigns defeated Drew McIntyre. And Stone Cold defeated Tez. On to Survivor Series. So Roman versus Mustafa Ali, Lacey Evans versus Kaylee Ray for the Women's Championship, Kenny Omega versus Brent, Titus O'Neil versus me, and then we have Team Zack versus Team Ciampa. We have Zack, Grand Metalik, Triple H, and Solo Sikoa versus Tommaso Ciampa, Kalisto, Scott Hall, and Robert Roode. Then we have Toni Storm versus Naomi, Montez Ford versus Finn Balor, Alexa Bliss versus Chyna, Stone Cold versus Drew McIntyre for the Universal Championship, and then Lavin Ganza versus John Cena. Roman defeats Ali, Kaylee Ray retains, Brent defeats Kenny Omega. Wow. Titus O'Neil defeats me, Team Zack wins. Toni Storm defeated Naomi, Finn Balor defeated Montez Ford, Chyna defeats Alexa Bliss, Drew McIntyre is still the Universal Champion, and John Cena defeats Lavin Ganza Time for TLC tables, ladders, and chairs. So we have Solo Sikoa versus Triple H. Oh! Wait, what? Did Josie Jane win the Women's Championship on a Smackdown? Hold on a minute. Who's the current champion? Josie Jane! She must have won the championship on a Smackdown event. So, Kaylee Ray gets her rematch against Josie Jane. Robert Roode defeats Ali. Robert Roode versus Ali. Mr. McMahon versus Finn Balor. Ciampa versus Montez Ford. Titus O'Neil versus John Cena. Roman versus Drew for the title. Zack versus Stone Cold. And La Venganza versus Brent. Triple H defeats Solo Sikoa. Kaylee Ray wins back her championship. Robert Roode defeats Ali. Mr. McMahon defeats Finn Balor. Montez Ford defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Titus O'Neil defeats John Cena. Roman Reigns is once again the Universal Champion. Stone Cold defeats Zack. And La Venganza defeats Brent. On to the Royal Rumble. We have Triple H versus Tommaso Ciampa. Josie Jane gets her rematch now. La Venganza versus Brent. Kenny versus Stone Cold. Robert Roode versus Mustafa Ali. Naomi versus Chyna. Zack versus Solo Sikoa. John Cena versus Roman for the Universal Championship. And then the 10-man Royal Rumble. Triple H defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Kaylee Ray retains. Brent defeats La Venganza. Stone Cold defeats Kenny Omega. Robert Roode defeats Ali. Chyna defeats Naomi. Zack defeats Solo Sikoa. Roman retains. And Finn Balor is your Royal Rumble winner. On to Elimination Chamber. So we have Naomi versus Chyna, Ali versus Solo Sikoa, Brent versus Titus, John Cena versus me, Montez Ford versus Mr. McMahon, Kenny Omega versus Stone Cold, Elimination Chamber match between La Venganza, Roman Reigns, Tommaso Ciampa, Drew McIntyre, Robert Roode, and Grand Metalik, Triple H versus Zack, and then an Elimination Chamber match for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Toni Storm, Kaylee Ray, Lacey Evans, Josie Jane, Alexa Bliss, and what is Mandy Rose doing in here? Chyna defeats Naomi, Solo Sikoa defeated Mustafa Ali, Titus O'Neil defeated Brent, John Cena defeated me, Mr. McMahon defeated Montez Ford, Kenny Omega defeats Stone Cold. Roman Reigns retains, I believe. Roman retains. Zack defeats Triple H. And Lacey Evans is your new Women's Champion. Alright, on to Fastlane. So we have Solo Sikoa versus Zack, Kenny Omega versus Stone Cold, Titus O'Neil versus Robert Roode, me versus John Cena, La Venganza versus Drew McIntyre, Naomi versus Chyna, Triple H versus Tommaso Ciampa. Why are you getting your championship match at Fastlane? Finn Balor versus Roman for the championship, and Toni Storm versus Lacey Evans for the championship in a no-holds-barred. No holds barred also between Solo Sikoa and Zack. Who wins? Zack defeats Solo Sikoa. Kenny Omega defeats Stone Cold. Robert Roode defeats Titus O'Neil. I defeat John Cena. Drew McIntyre defeats La Venganza. Chyna defeats Naomi. Triple H defeats Tommaso Ciampa. Roman Reigns retains. And Toni Storm is the new Women's Champion. On to WrestleMania. Me versus John Cena, Brent versus La Venganza, Grand Metalik versus Kalisto, Josie Jane versus Mako Satomura, Mustafa Ali versus Tommaso Ciampa, Robert Roode versus Kenny Omega, Montez Ford versus Vince McMahon, Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm for the Women's Championship, Lacey Evans versus Naomi, Titus O'Neil versus Triple H, Chyna versus Alexa Bliss, Roman Reigns versus Zack. The Universal Championship is not on the line. We're going to have Roman versus Zack be for the Universal Championship. Because Roman is the champion. Alright, we have John Cena defeated me, La Venganza defeats Brent, Kalisto defeats Grand Metalik, Josie Jane defeats Mako Satomura, Tommaso Ciampa defeats Mustafa Ali, Kenny Omega defeats Robert Roode, Montez Ford defeats Mr. McMahon, Toni Storm retains, Naomi defeats Lacey Evans, Triple H defeats Titus O'Neil, Chyna defeats Alexa Bliss, Zack is the new Universal Champion, and Stone Cold defeats Solo Sikoa and Drew McIntyre. So, your champions throughout were well, your current champ is Zack and Toni Storm. So the current champions throughout were, for the women, we had Chyna as the inaugural champion. Then Naomi defeated Chyna. Mako Satomura defeats Naomi. Naomi defeated her. Kaylee Ray defeated Naomi. Josie Jane defeated Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray defeated Josie Jane. Lacey Evans defeated Kaylee Ray. And Toni Storm defeated Lacey Evans. And then for the Universal Championship, Universal Championship. It won't show. Whatever. We'll just go to this Smackdown so that I can show you the Universal Champions. It didn't work. Whatever. Well, that is it for this video. See ya, guys.